What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You'll return to subscriber. As always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate support. Guys, I want to say something real quick. A high percentage of people that are in prison right now, men, I'm talking about, not women, I'm talking about men, from a male standpoint. A high percentage of men are in there for one reason and one reason only, because they cannot control their emotions and let anger get in the way of their rationale. Today I want to talk about a story, and my girl Gab sent me this yesterday. I seen this, Gab, yesterday as you sent it to me, but I also seen it and I was going to report on it today, so good looking out. I'm going to talk about a story out of Emmett Township, Michigan that happened a couple of days ago. And it's involving this guy right here who has an extensive prison resume, being arrested, had a few assault charges, and this guy has some type of mental problem that makes him an all-out maniac. The guy you see up here right now, and I'm gonna see if I can say his name right, is Epifanio Ibarra, 56 years old. This guy, 4 something in the morning, a couple of days ago, 4:30 in the morning, I think, got into an argument with his neighbor. This guy right here, who's no longer with us, may rest in peace. This guy's name is Waleed Hall. He's 44 years old. This man is dead, stabbed to death by this man who Mr. Hall went and knocked on his door for some odd reason. Mr. Ibarra opened the door with a knife in his hand and stabbed this dude over 120 times. Neighbors came out. That's how bad it was and loud it was. Neighbors came out while this guy was stabbing this guy over 120 times over his face, neck, and torso. You know, people have a lot of inert anger inside of them and frustrations through things they go through in life and just things they went through, period. You know, and just general frustrations. And sometimes it spills out in the most hateful ways. To stab somebody once is bad, but 120 times you have to be driven by an underlying hatred for somebody to do this. Here's the story.
Brutal crime scene after a man is stabbed nearly 100 times in Calhoun County.
This happened over the weekend at an apartment complex in Emmett Township. Investigators say that neighbors tried to intervene.
It's a story you saw first here on News Channel 3 this weekend, and tonight we're learning more about both the suspect and the victim. News Channel 3's Colin Roos is live near where the crime happened, and Colin, police say as brutal as it was, they also say it was isolated with no ongoing threat to the public there outside of Battle Creek.
They do, Andy. It happened here at the 6. Now, Emmett Township police say they've never seen a neighbor dispute turn deadly like this, but we still don't know what the neighbors were arguing about. Police call it an argument that spiraled out of control. Just before 4:30 in the morning Sunday, investigators say 2 neighbors at the complex had some sort of dispute. One man pounded on the other's door before the other neighbor opened the door, stabbed him with a knife dozens of times. The victim, now named as 44-year-old Waleed Hall, and the unnamed 56-year-old suspect now held in the Calhoun County Jail for murder. Lieutenant Tony Geigel with Emmett Township Public Safety says neighbor disputes aren't uncommon in the area, but they're usually over incidents like trash dumping and dogs running loose, and rarely ever this violent.
They can get pretty out of hand pretty quickly sometimes. You have a lot of passion on both sides of the fence that believe in their cause. And
he hopes the ongoing investigation will reveal what they were arguing about and if the two had any long-standing animosity. We turned to neighbors to find out what they saw, and while none agreed to an on-camera interview, one said he didn't see any warning signs, even saying he seemed like a nice person.
You never know what that other person's thought process is or what kind of danger they could put themselves into.
While neighbors tried to intervene in the attack, Lieutenant Geigel says it's best to wait for police to arrive when witnessing a neighbor dispute. He says there are calls that make even law enforcement proceed with caution because it's hard to know how deep the disagreements go.
Sometimes a calmer head can prevail and calm people down. But sometimes there's other situations going on that you may not be aware of. Anytime you try to get involved And these types of disputes, they can turn pretty bad and at times pretty deadly pretty quick.
Now, again, the lieutenant says he does not believe there is any further threat to the public, and we will find out more about that unnamed suspect tomorrow at his arraignment. In Calhoun County, Colin Roos, News Channel 3.
Tonight, an update to a story the News Channel 3 first brought you yesterday. A Calhoun County man accused of a brutal and deadly attack in Emmett Township appeared in court today. He is accused of stabbing his neighbor more than 100 times. Colin Roos was at that arraignment in Battle Creek and heard from the victim's family just days after his killing. Colin.
Yeah, good evening, Andy. Epifanio Ibarra was arraigned today just 2 days after he was arrested in connection with that attack. Now, his alleged victim was 44-year-old Waleed Hall. It's not known what led up to the stabbing, but Hall's family said Ibarra took someone from them they can never get back. Ibarra made his first appearance in Calhoun County Court, telling the judge he's innocent of his open murder charge. Court documents state that Waleed Hall, his neighbor at Columbia Court Apartments, was found with stab wounds to his face, neck, and torso Sunday morning. Officers later found Ibarra covered in blood inside his apartment and arrested him without incident. A large group of Hall's family crowded into the court in his memory.
And he was a lovable person, a beautiful smile.
Magistrate David Heiss said Ibarra had 11 previous felony convictions since 1995, with at least 5 said to be for assault with a dangerous weapon, and denied him bond. On at least one of those cases, he was found to be not guilty by reason of insanity. During the arraignment, prosecuting attorney David Gilbert mentioned that Ibarra is working with a mental health agency and is taking medication so he isn't a danger to himself or others. He mentioned the county has seen cases like this before, but not to this extent.
We have seen neighborhood disputes become deadly, but it's not on a regular basis.
Hall's family disputes the police account that Hall and Ibarra argued before Hall's death. They say Hall was a victim of the justice system and that Ibarra should have remained in prison for his previous convictions. Gilbert says that issue goes beyond the scope of the courts.
You elect people to your legislature, and they're the ones that make the laws. The courts, the police, and prosecutors are in charge of, or have to enforce those laws. If you don't think people should be out of prison, then make sure they stay in prison.
Hall's sisters say they want him to be remembered as a man who loved his children and wish that something more could have been done before tragedy struck.
Awful. He didn't deserve that. I want people to know that.
Now, Ibarra faces a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole if convicted. And Gilbert wanted to stress that everyone accused of a crime is innocent until proven guilty. In Calhoun County, Colin Roos, News Channel 3.
That's the story, man. Like I said, man, this guy, Mr. Waleed Hall, rest in peace, family out there showing support. Everybody wondering why. You know what I'm saying? It's like nowadays people are crazy as can be. They said this happened on Sunday. So this happened on Mother's Day, y'all. And it's like, for some odd reason, this year, a lot of mothers been hurt on a day that's supposed to be celebrating them bringing children into the world by the death of their own kids. If you think about this, it says, police says 56-year-old Epifanio Tudon Ibarra was arraigned yesterday, just 2 days after he was arrested in connection to an attack on Sunday that killed 44-year-old Waleed Hall at an apartment complex in Emmett Township. Police say Ibarra stabbed Hall 120 times, severing his carotid, jugular, and spinal cord. Ibarra has 11 previous felonies since 1995, with at least 5 of those for assault with a dangerous weapon. This guy should have never been out in society. Police did recover a knife covered in blood from Ibarra's apartment, which he currently being held in the county jail without bond. This guy surrendered peacefully. That's how you know you a prison dude, when you just stab somebody and just get down, take me. I did what I did. Said he stabbed his carotid, I guess that's a vein, his jugular, I know that's a vein, and his spinal cord. 120 times you severed his spinal cord. So that means if he was alive, which severing the spinal cord usually kills you, he had to take all of them blows. Because, 120 times, what's going through my head when I seen that is not only the viciousness of it, but how many times did you stab him before he stopped moving? Seriously. Because I'm going to tell you something. You ain't never seen nobody stabbed in real life. I've seen it multiple times in some of the most vicious ways in prison. People be struggling to fight. It don't be like on TV. You stab them, they walk and then fall up. These people be fighting. Blood flying. It's a mess. And this guy right here, you can already tell he's been through that. That's nothing to him. And he took this man's life out of anger. He snapped his spinal cord with a knife in his hand. You know how many hard you got to thrust? And this is look like a big dude. Look at his neck. Look at his face. He got that kind of look where it showed darkness behind his pupils. Some people have that look. Hell, they use them in movies sometimes. A killer stare. Boom, he got it. You never know who you're going to come across. That's why it don't make sense nowadays to take it to the next level, because people are savage. Now, I guess that guy that knocked on the door, you know what I mean? That's one thing. Why would you knock on somebody's door for something in the morning? I mean, people get upset, but damn, I'm sure he wasn't expecting that. And probably when he knocked on the door, my man just grabbed a knife, opened the door, just seen it was him and just gave it to him because they don't like each other. Either way, it shouldn't have happened. But it's a reality that's out here. People are crazy. They're crazy. And this is as crazy as it gets. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. I have no more commentary for this. I'm at a loss for words.